So let's continue on, and this is part 4 of how to create a proportional circular area chart. And what we're going to do now is making sure that this all works in the proper proportion. So we're going to scroll down again into the slice ratio plugin. We have here the highest value, and this highest value will be very useful because now you can calculate the percentage of it. So what I can do here is basically this should be eventually in here. Whatever here, you will have here the highest value multiplied by the rate, which would be basically the value here. So what are we missing here? In this case, we're missing the value that would indicate from this point all the way to the very top or wherever that is. And that is what we call the outer radius. But the outer radius here should not be in a formula. And the reason why is if you do that, it will have in this animation, it has an animation here, it will calculate and it will keep on calculating the relative value, and it changes in multiple times. So I don't want that. This is the reason why we have the X and Y coordinates here to calculate how much pixels is from this point all the way to here or all the way down, something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that here we will get the exact value, which is basically this. It's just the outer radius value, but then, well, I would say hard-coded, but it's not really hard-coded. It's a formula base, but it will not change with anything else. So if I say here outer radius, if I save this, refresh, and of course it will give us an error here because my formula doesn't make sense here. So I'm just going to comment this out yet. You can see here, this is the value. I'm going to grab this, change that, put it in here. Then I'm going to say here, this will be divided by the highest value. So that would be, for example, 10. And then it will multiply by whatever the rate is. And the rate is like the array will go by, it will just trigger one at a time. So you will see now that it will then be 10, which is the highest value, and this one is the lowest. But this is, of course, a hard-coded value. I don't want a hard-coded value because that will give us issues. So what we need to do is we need to get the soft-coded value of this. But I cannot say this one because let me show you so you have an understanding of why we should not do that. Oh, surprisingly, this works even nicely as well. I guess that works fine. Sorry, I thought this was an issue, but I guess this will work nicely. Let's cross-check this. Save that, refresh. Alright, that's very interesting. My code here did not work at the time. Doesn't matter. We can now work from this point on. So if that is the case, it becomes much easier for me as well. So what I do want is the following, because this is an issue as well, and that's the reason why I have this. What if I change, for example, the structure of it by saying, well, aspect ratio is not a square. No, I wanted a rectangle, so I'm going to put in value of 2, similar to a bar chart. If I do that, oh, there you are. Alright, this works as well. Nice. So if this is all the case, I think we're very quickly done, unexpectedly. So let me just cross-check this by doing a few additional tests here. What if, because that is the one that we also have, if I have a layout, and I'm going to add up some padding. Let's say here padding, and I'll make here padding 10, and let's see if that works. Alright, that works nicely. If I say padding, not even 10, but I'm going to say left side 10 and top 25. Save that, refresh. This works nicely as well. Alright, so I guess this basically has solved all the issues that I first thought that I need to cover as well. So because of that, I can just simplify this, and probably we don't even need the chart area anymore because that was all calculated in my formula. So let's go there. I have a item missing, of course. We're not allowed to do that. There we are. So then this can be removed as well. Save that. Let's see. Alright. So this all works. So let's start to continue on then. What we're missing here is the tooltip. If you want to have the tooltip, you will see here and you look at this, you say, hold on, what's going on here? We have the value of 10. And this value can be any value you want as long as it's equal, so you have a 50-50 sharing of the chart. So 1 and 1 is fine, but I don't want to show these values. What I want to show is the ratio. That is the one that truly matters. So to do that, I'm going to put a comma here. And then what I want to do here is the following. I'm going to say here, tooltip, or we are in the tooltip. I'm going to create a callbacks because I want to adjust now the label in here. And what we're going to do here then is the following, the label. And in this label, we're going to have the value, and then we can just say here the function error expression. And then we can say here console log and just check what this value gives. So if I save this, refresh, right now, if we hover over, it gives us a lot of information. But what I want is in the data set here, I basically need two things. I need to know, first of all, which data set sorry, not data set, but data point I'm hovering. You can see here, that's data point index 0. And index 0 will have the ratio here. That is basically index 0. We can just grab that like this. So that is very nice. We get all of this information and we can easily extract the one we need. So what I want to do here is, I want to say here return. And I'm going to say here backtick, but let's put in here right now, or before we do that, let's get the index number first. It's the data set index number. So I'm going to say here index will be value dot data index, and this will give us index 0, and then we can say here the next one would be the value itself, or the ratio or the rate. So I'm going to say constant rate equals value dot data set. I'm going to grab the data set. Then I'm going to say here dot ratio, and in the ratio we're going to put in here the index number, and then we get this index number, put that in there. So once we did that, I can say now here return. Let's put only the rate in here, save that, refresh, and now you will see here we get the number 5 and number 9, which is correct. However, as you can see here, I don't want it like that because we're missing some text here. If I refresh here, you see here weekly sales is the value. So what I want to do here is just grab the same logic, and the weekly sales, if you're wondering where is this weekly sales coming from, it is basically from the label, the data set itself. So what we can do here, and probably it's also in here, data set, we have Monday, that's the label, but I want to have here the data set label. So what I'm going to say here, I'm going to say backtick. I'm going to put in here a $sign because we're going to use template literals, and I'm going to get this variable. I'm going to say value dot the data set, and then we say a dot. I'm going to grab here the label name, label, colon, and then we can put in here, because this is the template literals, this is string value. Then we're going to grab here the other value, that's the rate, another $sign, and put that in there. Semicolon here, save, refresh, and now we have here weekly sales 9 and weekly sales 5, which is basically the ratio number. If I change this to, let's say 20, and see what happens, save, refresh, you can see here 20 and number 5, and this works all very nicely.